So some documents have come out recently that have tarnished the reputation of the Nostalgia Critic. The Nostalgia Critic is a movie reviewer. He's one of the bigger, if not the biggest, movie critic on YouTube. He's been around for like 10 years, if not longer. I've only been watching the dude since 2016, so I'm a casual fan in every sense of the word. I just recently found out about all his little cohorts like Spoonie and Linkara and Obscurus Lupa and all these other people that have been in the fold for a long time. So this 69-page Google Doc came out recently that's basically an indictment of Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic, his brother Rob Walker, and this mysterious owner of Channel Awesome known as Mike Michaud. I read the document, all 69 pages of it. I'm going to give my condensed version of the condensed version of the condensed version of this whole situation. I'm going to give my thoughts on it as kind of the everyman, I guess you could say, because I haven't been watching, like I said, for a long time, but I do have some strong opinions on this. So this website called Channel Awesome, which hosted the Nostalgia Critic videos and other videos as well, it's been around for a while, and you had people like Spoonie, like I said, on there. His videos were on there, and Linkara, who does this Atop the Fourth Wall series. Never watched any of that stuff, so I don't know. I can't speak to the quality of it. Apparently it's good. But there were also a bunch of lesser-known contributors on the site. They made videos. Some of them were bloggers, etc. This is where most of the complaints are coming from, these people, the lesser-known contributors. Nostalgia Chick, Obscurus Lupa, some other people that I don't even remember their names right now. It's in the document, though. You can check it out for yourself. So every year, to mark the anniversary of the Channel Awesome website, all these contributors, along with Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic, and some of the other bigger contributors, they would come together and they would make these anniversary movies. And when I say these things sucked, they sucked. They sucked ass. Hard ass. Have you ever had a friend that tried to make a movie and they roped you into watching it, and it was just them with their shitty $50 camcorder dicking around with their friends? Okay, so you've seen that? Okay, you've basically seen all the Nostalgia Critic movies. Congratulations. That's the level of quality we're talking about here. And that's what I find so funny about it, because, you know, critics, man, they base their whole career off of tearing down other people's art, you know, like music critics, movie critics. Their whole job is to just criticize and tear apart other people's hard work. And whenever these guys get their opportunity to make their magnum opus, it always fucking sucks. Have you ever noticed that? It sucks every time. It's hilarious to me. Like, I love it. Because I'm a musician. I write music, I record songs, I perform live, etc. I make these videos, which, you know, I don't care if you tear these videos apart because I know they're not that great, but my music, though, it's just so funny, you know, because when someone else, it's like, all right, big boy, let's see you do better, and they never do. It's funny. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So, in this document of these lists of grievances against Channel Awesome and Doug Walker and all them, these other producers were, amongst other things, they were surprised when there were no craft services on the set of these movies. Craft services is stuff like food and water and all that other kind of stuff. And the phrase, no shit, comes to mind whenever I was reading this, about there not being any craft services on set. What? Have you seen this guy's movies? Have you seen his videos before? What was the first thing that gave it away that there might not be craft services on the set of the movie that was filmed with a $50 Sony Handycam, or at least looks that way? Were you also surprised when you weren't picked up in a limo and there was no red carpet treatment? I'm not saying Doug and company are innocent by any means, but I'm just saying you shouldn't have been surprised. And the theme in these Google documents, there is definitely a theme of naivete, however you want to say it. It's like you knew these movies weren't going to get a theater release. You know, they were little internet-based movies at best. It's not like you're on the set of a Scorsese film and all these egregious things happened. You know, you were doing a glorified student film at best. You know, of course the conditions were not ideal. You know what I mean? So they also go on to complain in these documents about how the website channelawesome.com was poorly ran, and how the CEO Mike Michaud ignored everybody essentially except Doug Walker. Again, no shit. Doug Walker is the reason why Channel Awesome exists. If there was no Nostalgia Critic Doug Walker, there would be no Channel Awesome. Do you really think that he started that guy with the glasses, which was the precursor to Channel Awesome? Do you think he started that guy with the glasses, and which then became Channel Awesome? Do you think he did that and put all that work into building his brand to then relinquish his power and relinquish his visibility to lesser known, perhaps in his mind, lesser talented people? Of course not. Of course he's not going to do that. Of course the president or CEO who owns the intellectual property of the Nostalgia Critic and probably has a financial interest in the success of the Nostalgia Critic, their flagship show, of course that's going to be at the top of the page and it's going to be the most promoted thing. I mean, it's so hard to build your own brand these days, or any time really. And you got to put a lot of work into it. And it's like, especially in the YouTube world, when you finally get to the top of that hill, the last thing you want to do is give someone else a piece of the pie that you've earned. Because, yeah, Doug and the Nostalgia Critic, they get a lot of views, but that can change any day. And he knows that. He knows that any day that other shoe can drop. Those subscribers can mass exodus. Those views can plummet, because it happens all the time and has happened to a bunch of people. People who have been on Channel Awesome, Spoonie. I mean, if you want to see a fall from grace, there are videos that you can watch about that. He knows that it can change at any point. So it's like when he made his stake at the top, he's gonna stay there. It's the Doug Walker show, guys. I mean, I really hate to sound like I'm condescending in any way, but again, the naivety there, to think that he's going to relinquish any of that. And then there was, you know, people who have said that, oh, well, there were favorites on the websites. There were clicks within clicks on the website. Spoonie or Linkara or Angry Joe's videos were more heavily promoted than the lesser-known creators. Again, it's kind of like, no shit. These people, like Linkara, like Angry Joe, they built their audience on their own right. You know, atop the fourth wall, the Angry Joe show, whatever. These people became popular in their own right. They made something that was either unique or a cut above whatever else was out there, and got popular on their own. So, of course, Channel Awesome was going to promote that, because it would be stupid for them not to. They became an asset to Channel Awesome at that point. These content creators at the bottom of the rung who expect that Channel Awesome is going to do the legwork and hoist them up to the top, life doesn't work that way. You have to grind. You have to make that original, awesome, kick-ass, undeniable content that people cannot ignore. At that point, then the Channel Awesomes of the world and the record labels of the world, then they will come to you and hey, we want to be in business with you, man. Do you want to come on our site and blah, 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 blah. Like, you have to put out the amazing stuff. You have to do the legwork. You know, that's just how it works in pretty much every aspect of life. Now, another big complaint in these Google documents was the abuse, verbally, and emotionally and psychologically mainly from Mike Michaud, the douchebag CEO that owns Channel Awesome and the Nostalgia Critic intellectual property. Now, I don't know what kind of contracts these people who are complaining, these producers, had to sign, if any. I'm sure they signed something. But at the first sign of abuse, you know, depending on how severe, depending on what was said, I would have left. Don't put up with that shit. You have the power to build your own brand with platforms like YouTube and all this other kind of stuff. You can build your own thing now. You don't need to rely on these MCNs and these overlords controlling you. And I understand when you're in that situation, when you're in the cults, if you will, it's hard to break out. It's hard to do that. And you know what? I mean, the sad part about life is the hardest decisions are usually some of the best and most rewarding ones. The easy decisions are always, you know, not the most fulfilling. Well, not always, but sometimes not the most fulfilling. And the sad thing is, it took a lot of these people 3, 5, even 10 years to finally leave. 10 years to put up with having your videos pushed to the bottom of a drop-down list on a website and having your content just picked apart by this douchebag CEO guy who probably doesn't know the first fucking thing about making a video. You know, I mean, to stay for that long has got to be soul-crushing. I mean, but then at the same time, I think you had to have been getting something out of it to put up with that shit for that long. You know, I mean, this is just a YouTube or a website-based, you know, company that's hosting your content and supposed to be promoting you. It's not like some kind of, you know, cult where they'll kill you if you try to leave. Again, though, I don't know about what kind of contracts they had to sign, so I will eat my words on that if they signed some kind of bullshit, you know. I know the HR person, Holly, in the document, she actually had to sign, it was a contract where if she left, she couldn't do anything in the entertainment business for 3 years, which that fucking sucks. Again, people, read your contracts, hire lawyers, hire attorneys to look over this shit before you sign it. You know, again, the theme of naivety, it just keeps circling around every time I go through these bullet points. Also, anytime somebody is offering you, and this is another part of the Google documents, their compensation for being in these shitty anniversary movies was exposure. Anytime somebody is offering you exposure as compensation for anything, fuck that shit. Unless they are giving you a substantial role where you are showcasing your unique abilities to a wide audience, money talks, bullshit walks. That exposure is bullshit. Getting paid in exposure. You don't know. There are so many times, there are so many projects that have been throughout history. These big celebrity types. Simon Cowell, you know, he'll get these groups and he'll try to push them up the pop charts, and it just doesn't happen. Just because you're exposed to a mass audience doesn't mean they're going to like you. It doesn't mean they're going to engage in your channel and your content. It doesn't really mean dick. It is a way of free labor, essentially. So, I mean, I know hindsight 2020 here, but still, being paid in exposure, never do that. So I guess in closing, my main points are, it is no surprise that in an internet-based kind of ragtag group of wannabe movie makers, that there was mismanagement, negligence, inappropriate behavior, and inappropriate comments that were made by the higher-ups. It's just not surprising to me. I'm not saying it's right, for fuck's sake. Let me drive that point home. I'm not saying any of it's right. And they are douchebags, you know, especially that Mike Michaud and Mike Ellis. Doug Walker, to me, seems clueless, but I think he knows a lot more than what is let on. He just wants to save face so bad. I think he's like many YouTubers. He wants to be famous so bad, and he wants that power and that notoriety so bad that he is willing to do and lie whatever it takes to keep him from being thrown under the bus. And I don't even know what the fuck Rob Walker does. I know he helps write occasionally, and he's a dinosaur sometimes, but I don't really know his full extent, of involvement. But it's kind of like if I started my own production company and I didn't know shit about production, and I hired a bunch of people, and I tried to do something where you really needed a professional crew, and a bunch of shit went wrong. And then a bunch of those people who worked for me went out and, made this document full of ways that I fucked up. And all these other people who were kind of fans of me being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe these things happened. Really? You can't believe it? You're that shocked? That's kind of where I'm at with this whole situation when I read the documents. So that's my take on it, guys. I don't claim to be this enlightened genius, and I've probably offended several people who have watched this video. So, I guess my second thing is, I'm glad these content creators left and they're, doing their thing now, and hopefully they found happiness. Do it on your own, people. That's my thing. Do it on your own. Be like me. Do everything on your own. Don't rely on other people. Then you won't have the chance to be upset and let down by them. And maybe one day you'll be able to get a cardboard 1,000 subscriber placard like what I have. Now, did I make that myself for one of my videos? Who knows? That's part of the mystery of my channel. I'm gonna put a link to this document in the description of this video, so you yourself can waste an hour and a half of your life that you'll never get back by reading that shit. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you adieu.